All right, buddy. Another one of my impromptu chats. Okay. This time we got Louis Retik on the chat here. We're going to talk about NHPs and cost recovery. So, Louis, just share what exactly is cost recovery?
Well, cost recovery is a method or approach where a regulatory agency or department could recover the cost of its regulatory services that it's providing to stakeholders. So, for example, in the area of natural health products, it would be the concept of Health Canada charging applicants for reviewing an application for a product license or for reviewing an application for a site license. A great example that we think of in our everyday lives, when you pay a fee for your driver's license, that's a form of cost recovery.
Okay. And so why is this important?
It's cost recovery is important from an industry perspective because it will, in effect, increase the costs of doing business in Canada. And if not done right, or if overly excessive, it has the risk of reducing both investment into Canada. It has the risk of reducing product availability in Canada. And it actually has the risk of, in this case, promoting non-compliance versus compliance in Canada, which would be counterintuitive to what the stated goals of Health Canada are.
Interesting. So, like, is it limited to just the? Because we talked earlier, is it limited to just the NHP, or what? Why should, if I'm not in the NHP business, should I be concerned?
100% you should be concerned.
Explain it. The bigger picture. The bigger picture.
Okay, bigger picture. Absolutely. So there's a few things to consider. One is many companies, or most companies in the NHP or dietary supplement world, aren't exclusively in the dietary supplement world. Those companies themselves are, for example, sell cosmetics, perhaps, maybe foods, other consumer products. In addition, the concept is not unique to the natural health product industry. The current proposal that was proposed on May 12, 2023, that was specific to the dietary supplement space. It was specific to natural health products and to recover costs from the natural health product industry. However, this proposal has invited a lot of criticism from industry for a variety of reasons. And what's important is other industries, especially those that are related or close to the dietary supplement industry, and I'm thinking food, for example, to watch closely. It's critical for them to watch closely how this proposal to the NHP industry unravels. It's also important for them to consider whether they should provide comments themselves, given that what gets ultimately adopted in the NHP industry could provide a framework or platform or blueprint for how Health Canada could expand cost recovery to other industries, such as the food industry. I'll give an example.
Yeah.
Today in the food industry, for a company to sell a novel food or to add a food additive, they have to go through a robust application process. They file documents with Health Canada. The process is expensive without government fees, data that needs to be obtained, safety evidence, etc. Now, Health Canada today has the authority to propose a cost recovery scheme for those application processes, including, by the way, temporary market authorizations. And if they were to do that, we would want to understand, well, how will they do that? What would that look like? And are they likely to do it? Well, I think it's reasonable to say that when government finds a way to add to the treasury or to reduce their costs on the backs of industry, they're going to often exercise that ability. And so if they're successful in the NHP space in pursuing what they're pursuing, then I think it would be very naive to believe that they're not going to eventually take a similar approach or parallel approach in the food industry. And one of the things they're proposing in the NHP, proposing on the NHP side, is that there is the program or the process they have today, and then there's their aspirational system, right? Their aspirational review process. And there are a lot of concerns with what they want, and we don't even need to get there. It doesn't really matter. There's what they want and what they have. And they're proposing a cost recovery system, not on what they have, but on what they want, which has a cost estimate at multiples of what they actually do today, right? So then their cost recovery proposal is based on multiples of what they have to do today. Another way of thinking about it is they're going to get the industry of today to pay for the administration of the industry of tomorrow, right? And there are a lot of criticisms of this. There's other criticisms of the proposal, but in this particular case, it looks and talks and feels a lot like a tax, right?
Okay.
On an industry already paying tax. So if you think of the food industry, and if you think of whether the food industry should simply ignore what's going on the dietary supplement side, because it's not them, it's maybe viewed as a different industry, this could be seen as very short-sighted. And when Health Canada, or if Health Canada were to propose a similar structure, first of all, if they go through with the, with what they're proposing on the NHP side, because there's been thousands of feedback comments to Health Canada, and we're hopeful that they're going to pivot and change their approach, but they don't, right? Then when they come and propose the same thing on the food side, their first position is going to be, well, it would only be fair that we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. And take
That's
a similar
brutal.
approach.
That's brutal, because it's inflationary. There's already struggles with inflation and food and costs, and that's a
Absolutely.
So what people are going to watch this short little video here. What should people do? I
would say if you're in the dietary supplement space, obviously pay attention.
Yep.
If we understand, but we'll see it when we see it, that Health Canada is actually going to go back to the drawing board and going to provide an updated proposal. Watch for that proposal, consider whether it's reasonable and fair, make your voice heard. If there's an issue, provide comments. That to me, that's obvious if you're in the dietary supplement space. If you're in any other industry, but I would say even more so, and more specifically in both the food space and the cosmetic space, is I would treat this proposal as if this proposal was in your industry as well. I know it's not, and that's a stretch, but from a reactive perspective, from a paying attention perspective, if you don't address the issues as it's being proposed in the dietary supplement space, and those issues come to life, it's going to be far more challenging and difficult to then ask to be treated differently than the dietary supplement space or industry when similar proposals land in the food industry or the cosmetic industry. And it would be, to be frank, it would be very naive and short-sighted, regardless of what Health Canada says today, to believe that these proposals or such a proposal could never happen in the food or cosmetic industry.
Louis, this has been very insightful. We could talk for hours, but this is a short impromptu. And I appreciate the insight. So everybody, you got the message? Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Louis.
you very much, Bruce.
Thank you. So important. I will come back to this. It'll be a follow-up. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.